Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the John Henry Soto Show. My name is John Henry Soto, and as always, I have Mr. George Batista joining us live, and we're very excited. We're always excited to do this show because we love bringing information and joy and positive messages and all the other stuff that we bring here. We love doing that, and that's why we do this show. And we want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate you very much because we know that you can be doing so many other things. And if you spend just a few minutes with us, we appreciate that. And it means a lot to us. So thank you very much. So tonight, how you doing, George? First of all, before I get started.
Um, doing fantastic. I'm doing great. Weather's great. It's
Weather's great up there.
just yeah. Weather's been. I mean, it was really really hot like the
Yeah,
last couple of weeks, but actually recently it's been all right. It's pretty good.
cool, cool. Yeah, I was down in Florida, so
Yeah.
hot is it's another level of it down there. And here too. I mean, we while we were down in Florida, I heard there was a big heat wave here in
Yeah.
Tennessee as well.
Hmm.
So we came back and it was just as hot when we came back. I was like, we just left all this, and it was really hard to even keep the air conditioner in the car
Mm,
because you're on the highway for like
yeah.
miles and miles, and the heat's just, and so it was a kind of interesting. But we made it back, and we're here, and a lot going on, a lot going on in the world, by the way,
Yeah. That's
which
true.
we won't be covering some of that stuff here, or none of that stuff here. But George covers it. You can follow George's show,
I cover some of
some
it.
of it on Rumble and
Yeah.
other
Yep.
places. But this show today, we're going to be talking about JHS Talent Management, and we're going to be talking about JHS Legacy Blueprint and my new book, and the film, and some other exciting news that we have. With the JHS Talent Management, which Brian Pierce, who's my business partner, and George Batista, who's our wellness expert on staff. We're putting this together, and you know, we were just talking, George and I, before we went live, and I want, I don't want to be normal, right? And I was like, and people who know me can agree that I've achieved that goal, but
Yeah. A long time ago.
I don't want to be normal as a company.
Mm,
I don't want to be normal as an institution, as an organization. I want people to look at it and say, like, oh, I never thought of that. That's a different way of looking at it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so that was what we're going to say, George. You have like some joke that you have.
Just have
I have, I've known George for
my
so
mind
many
is my
years.
mind is going in 27 different directions right now. But go ahead. I'm good.
George and I grew up together, so I know George's
You'll find out next week.
every poker face that George has. But
It's either
no,
that, it's either when something's funny or when I see a beautiful woman.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's got a poker face. He can't. He's like, but anyway, so I want the company to be completely different. I don't, I, and but that's so broad to say something like that, and it may sound so cheesy or anything. But I want people to hear when they read our mission statement. I want them to go, oh, that's interesting. That's a completely
Yeah.
unique, different way of doing that. And I'll give you a piece of our mission statement here. Oh, that's not how I want to show it. Come on, John. But the save it. Boom. So part of it, we are deeply committed to nurturing the holistic success of every artist we represent. That
Oh,
that major that major little piece of the puzzle is what we're really pushing here. I mean, it's
right.
a holistic success. We want, and again, we're deeply committed to nurturing
Hmm.
the holistic success of every artist we represent. Meaning, what does that mean? Well, that means that because we have George on board, if someone is coming on board and they just don't feel like they have enough energy, they're having trouble sleeping, they're maybe having trouble. controlling their weight, if they're, if that's an issue, whatever the case may be, we have someone that can actually, again, I have to say, George is not a doctor, but he is a wellness professional. And what is it? This thing that I have here that I have to show. I just show it just because.
Yeah.
So these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This program is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please seek the advice of your doctor. Having said that, George can help
Right.
with, getting more energy, figuring out what, supplements can actually help you in that. If you're having trouble sleeping, what's going on? And so this provides a completely other layer of helping the artist, which every artist that I've spoken to, when I tell them about, either I tell them about the 4 phases that we run our artists through, and I tell them about the wellness portion of it, the holistic approach, all of them are like, I've never heard of that. That's like, that's awesome. That's how, they're just so excited about it,
Yeah.
because they, let's face it, artists have been kind of like just thrown to the side a lot of times when it comes to like helping them try to find a career, or try to build momentum where they can actually have an income.
Yes.
Right? I mean, they get put onto these streaming platforms that completely are just, they're just disgusting what happens and how much money they're generating and how much money these artists are getting. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
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 So we want to be different. We're changing up the way that the streaming services, we're not taking that route. We're just not taking that route. And maybe this will go we'll disappear and nobody will hear from us because we couldn't survive or whatever. But we're gonna go down with that conviction, and we're gonna go down with the idea that we just want to help artists, and especially with the holistic approach to the complete artist. We want to represent an artist, not just take their talents and just throw it out there and see where it sticks.
Right. And one of the things that people sometimes miss is when they're being creative, musician, singer, whatever it is, that they don't realize that. Let's take a look at the energy. Like you brought up energy, for example. John, like you yourself, John, how do you create when you are extremely tired? Okay.
Not
you
good.
you can't. You don't. It doesn't. It's even me. Like on a day, let's say I didn't get good sleep that night or whatever, or something happened or whatever, and had an exhausting day, and I get behind those drums, and I know I want to practice. But when I'm sitting there and I'm practicing and I'm exhausted, it's not, I'm forcing it. It's not coming out. I can't be creative. I can't come out with something new because my brain is just not letting me,
Right.
And so people, again, my point is that people don't realize that just being tired, being, lacking nutrients, being whatever the case may be, even if you're sick or whatever the case may be, it blocks creativity.
Yeah.
It really, really does. And you do have to get a handle on those types of things. And that's part of this whole thing. Again, it could be mental stress. Like you're stressed from what's going on in your life with family and all those things. That's a blockage,
Yeah.
and you and I have talked about it as well. People in your life that are, could be blocking you, could be suppressing you and all these types of things. All these things as an artist, you have to take into account. You love to create, and that's great, and you should be creating all the time, but you also have to understand where the blockages are and how to handle those blockages. And that's one of the things that JHS Talent Management is designed to help you with.
Yeah. And there's also the idea that there's only one way of doing it. There's this thing that's been sort of, it blocks people from being able to think outside the box and being able to be, because you get so indoctrinated into the idea that there's just one way of achieving a certain level of success. And then you make the you start comparing yourself, right? You make the comparisons to someone else that achieved the success that you're trying to strive for,
Right. Right.
and it's the easiest way to like dig a hole for yourself
That's a
where
trap.
you can't get out of, is by
Hmm.
comparing yourself to someone who has probably no idea of how they did it themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no one way roadmap. There is one thing that you can be sure of. You got to be good.
Yes. Yes.
That much we know. Now, in recent years, because of all the different platforms, we've seen talent get through the cracks that maybe not the best talent, but overall, the ones that really are successful, the ones that really get the momentum and get the interest, they're pretty talented.
Hmm.
What I mean? They're pretty talented. I mean, they're and they're uniquely different. Just a quick thing that I was thinking about the other day was, there was a famous, I won't mention his name, but it was a famous artist, and he was bashing American Idol,
Hmm.
that whole system, and
Right.
how it's like, you don't have to get in line to just be, it's like just play the music, and there was a part of me, because that show's been around for over 20 years, that there was a part of me that agreed with him
Hmm.
in that respect, right? And then I thought, who am I or anyone to say how that artist is going to get in?
True. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's radio, there was MTV at one point, there's television programs, there's so many different ways that someone could find their way in.
True.
Sometimes there are people that aren't even doing the thing that they end up doing to get in.
That's right.
They're playing bass for a band, and next thing you know, they're playing guitar again, and now
Yeah.
they're singing, and now, you know what I mean? It's just so
Hmm.
many you do not know. So why is it so bad that a singer, a good singer, that's their path? And the reason I say this is because of Abby Carter. I don't know if you've been following. I think we might have talked about it, maybe not. But Abby Carter is our recent the last American Idol winner,
Okay.
right? And she came in. Her first audition um, was kind of mind blowing.
Hmm.
Like, she was 21 years old, very cute, and then she sat behind the piano and she did a Billie Eilish song.
Hmm.
I can't remember the famous slow one. Um, and what was I made for, that song?
Hmm.
And had the judges kind of looking at each other like, oh my god. And at the end of it, Lionel Richie and what is it, Katy Perry, and I forget the other the country, Luke.
Oh, Luke Bryan, is it? Or
Luke
I,
Bryan?
I haven't watched that show
Maybe,
in
maybe it's Luke
years,
Bryan.
so I don't even know who's on it.
Yeah, I think it's him. So, but they said they said that's the first time that the crew applauded. The
Wow.
crew, the camera crew behind the cameras. He said that's the first time that's ever done and that's ever happened. And so she's bawling, and of course, she went through, and and then you hear Lionel and Luke talking in the back, and he says to Lionel, he goes, "She may be the winner. She may be the winner." And then Lionel said, and then Katy Perry was like, "She's top 10, right?" And then he said, "I was just telling him he might be, she might be that may be our winner." And
Wow.
now when people say that, obviously pressure is on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But she was able to come back again, and because you got to come back, and they
Yep.
give you challenges, and it's not an easy show to be on with the pressure. Suddenly, she was busking at one point.
Mm,
She's
mm.
just playing, and now she's on American Idol. Now she's in front of millions of people, having
Right.
to compete with other incredibly talented people. So to get into that position and then to get through and to do well on every single, I mean, she crushed every performance.
Hmm.
And of course, she ended up winning,
Right.
and she definitely should have won. And now her life has changed. Her life is different. Now she's a completely different person. Now, I don't know what the business side of it is. I don't know what kind of contract she had to sign. I don't know if she's going to get ripped off. I don't know anything about these things. That's how they operate their systems. I don't know. That's not really for me to say. All I know is that she, since she was a little girl, wanted to audition for American Idol. She got the opportunity. She went. She won. Right? Why should I hate that process? Why should I hate the process? You know what I mean? It's like that was her journey. Now, on the flip side, you could look at the industry and say, well, they're really just at the beginning. These shows used to just make fun of the bad singers, if you remember
Yeah.
that.
And I think it got a bad reputation
They
because of
got a
that.
bad reputation for that, and I think they stopped doing that because it was not. These are people that, whether they may be, they may have some delusions, on what their ability is, they still deserve respect.
Right.
They still deserve respect. And some of them were not even horrible, but just are not great singers.
Right.
And they would say, you're a good singer, but you're not a great singer. And I get it, that you have to be good. You gotta
Yeah.
it's gotta be a package deal, right? So, but my point on saying, on bringing this up is that, you know, the system that they're put together is a system that they put together and now worked for them for over 20 years. This is what they've been doing. I don't know if they're going to keep going. I don't know where the artists go. I don't know. I think Ruben Studdard, right, was one of them, and he was great.
Yeah.
Kelly Clarkson, of course, and what's the country that she turned into country? Carrie Underwood.
Oh, Carrie Underwood. I
Carrie
predicted that
Underwood.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, yeah,
I
really
did.
good talent,
Yeah.
came out of this show. Was it every single person? No, it wasn't every single person, but a lot of them that were on that show were able to go on. If you were top 10 in American Idol and a million people got to see you, if you played your cards right and you use that leverage, after you get booted out and you can't go back on the show, you
Yeah.
use that leverage to
To get you.
build a career.
That's
I
right.
mean,
They were people who became bigger than the actual person who won.
the one, what's her name? She won an Oscar.
Oh. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So
Her name.
you know, um, um, okay. So there are opportunities. Jennifer Hudson,
Jennifer Hudson. Yes.
right?
Yes,
So
yes,
Jennifer
yes.
Hudson, she didn't win.
That's right.
She got a. I mean, is there anyone bigger that's come out of American Idol than Jennifer Hudson? I don't
No.
even think there is.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think there is. She's the biggest that show has put out. I mean, maybe you could say Carrie Underwood,
Hmm.
those two together, but I find it really inspiring that a new system came into play and that they were able to frame it in a way. And yes, they had some rough patches in the beginning, and they kind of like were a little degrading to some of the artists and stuff like that. But then they realized that didn't work, and they cleaned up, and now they just focus on people that can sing.
Hmm.
Now, what they do focus on, is a story. Everyone has to have a
Yeah.
story. You got to have
Yeah.
like a story, and it's got to be like, well, I lived under a ship for years, and I ate bark, and I was able to crawl myself out, and I knitted myself some clothes from dead frogs, and
That's
I
a story.
that's a story. That would be on American Idol. So they're always looking for the story because it has a little bit of this reality television kind of a deal, right?
Yes. Yes.
So anyway, my reason for saying all this is because I want JHS Talent Management to be a different entity. I want people that come to us already know that they're going to come to a place that's safe for them to be in, to
Right.
create in, and that they're going to be valued and they're going to be encouraged.
Yes.
They're going to be encouraged. Now, uh, I'm not a tough manager person, but I do operate on, plans and
Yeah.
goals and targets. And I want to, so when we have targets that we have to meet, like, okay, we need some photos. Photos are going to be done by this time, and that kind of stuff. But I think that the artist likes that.
Right.
I think an artist would like to have someone care about them
Hmm.
and want to actually see them do well.
Right.
So that part of it, they can come here and they'll have a safe place. Um, So anyway, so that's part of it. That's part of the why I wanted to do something like this, is because as an artist, I've seen a lot of artists struggle. Unfortunately, I've seen people become non-artists after they were artists. They just
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just stop. And some of them may have realized maybe that it wasn't for them, and that's cool. Some of them it was just beaten out of them,
Right.
and they were just beaten into submission where it's too hard. It's too hard, and they can't go on. And that breaks my heart,
Right.
especially because I know a lot of them, and I know a lot of talented people that don't do it anymore. And that breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of
Yeah.
like, I feel, you know, anyway, overall, I feel a sense of responsibility that if I can help in any way give longevity to an artist, then I want to put myself in the position of being that person, that responsible person. Now, having said that, it does take a lot of, out of me. It takes a lot of work. It's 7 days a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't take, when I went to Florida, people thought I was, in a vacation. I was working.
Mm-hmm.
I was working every day.
Right.
Now, yes, I was working by a pool, and yes,
Always.
I was having dinner at nice restaurants, and I was hanging out. But I mean, I work here. I live by a lake. Where I can do stuff out. You know what I mean? So it's the position that I put myself in, right?
Yeah.
But it's 7 days a week,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and it's long hours. I work I work for this organization where I'm the media tech manager. Then afterwards, I'm like literally, I go to venues, I meet with artists, I do this, I meet with them this way on face what do you call this thing, virtual
Mm-hmm.
meetings. I have phone call meetings, I have visits, I drive to people, I meet them at coffee shops. I mean, that is my life in a nutshell. It's constantly. And if you follow me on social media, if you follow me on, probably on Instagram more than anything, you'll see you'll see that I document a lot of that on there and on Facebook as well. So it's a passion for me to want to do this, and that's why JHS Talent means so much to me, as an entity. And I'm not in any, I'm pushing it, I'm pushing it, I'm pushing it. I don't have a time on this. What I mean? I figure I'm here, I'm gonna push it until it goes, and
Right.
until it goes and becomes successful, and it will. I'm just gonna keep pushing on it. And I have great people like Brian Pierce, who he's really the business. He does a lot of the stuff. We had a meeting today where he's got an org board, and he's the executive director of the business. He's the
Yeah.
boss of the business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the creator, I'm the guy that goes out and meets the artists and finds the artists and talks to venues and do all that stuff and
Mm-hmm.
do all the stuff that I know how to do. He's the guy, he's the boss, right? So he tells me stuff. I have to be in a mindset to be able to like trust him, first of all,
Yeah.
which I do trust him. So
Mm-hmm.
if he says, I don't think we should do this, we should do that, I'm going to say, okay,
Right.
you're the guy, I'm
Right.
following, I'm bringing stuff to the table that then he has to kind of like punch into the system and kind of make it crank out, So, and then I have George, and George, like I said before, I've known George all my life, literally, right? We are blood related. We
Mm-hmm.
played in a band together, a few bands together. We've recorded together. We've had a great time playing, and really more of a friend than a relative. We became friends and we hung out. It
Yep.
was just like I would just go hang out with a friend. It wasn't like I was hanging out with family. It was just I was going to George's house, and we, and that those experiences gave us sort of like-mindedness in how we approach art, how we approach life, how we approach challenges and all that stuff. And this is something that having him on board, it's sort of like 100%. This is the trust factor. 100% trust that if I send someone to George because they're feeling run down in any way, that I know that he's going to give them amazing service
Mm-hmm.
and give them exactly what they need.
Right.
That I have no question about it. Same thing with Brian. You know, So putting that together, and I want to kind of expand it and bring some other people in that we can do more. That to me really makes the journey even more fun. It makes it more exciting. The possibilities are endless. It's really up to us.
Yeah.
I'm out there. I'm out there. I'm doing the things that I'm I'm the uncomfortable person. I put myself in the most uncomfortable positions that you could imagine. And if I ever were going to write just a book on that, it would be 1,000 pages, because there's so many moments that I put myself into the most uncomfortable positions.
It's funny you just say that because what last show or maybe two shows ago on my program, I did a whole segment on being comfortable with your discomfort.
Oh yes,
And you're the perfect person for that, because you have the personality to do it, but you also have the awareness. You have the awareness that you have to do that you need to be in those
right,
positions. You know
right,
what I'm saying? It's one thing to have the personality, but it's another thing to say, okay, I'm actually going to do it and put
yeah,
myself in that position and then be able to handle it. you
right,
know and you're the perfect person to do
yeah,
that, because like, and it goes back to the whole point of not being normal, right?
right,
Because in my house, you were completely not normal. You've never been normal in my house as far as my family goes, right?
right.
And the point is that I was completely normal in my family until I started hanging out with you, and then I became not normal.
But you
you
know
know?
what? Who has the show?
Right, exactly.
You have two
Exactly.
shows.
Right.
So yeah, no, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. One of the things that about putting myself in that position is that there's a thing that I talk a lot about. My studies and my religion and stuff, and being in present time, and also when you're in the environment, because this I have to. If I don't do this, I struggle, and I've caught myself struggling because I don't do this.
Right.
Because I go into a thing sometimes, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to think, but sometimes it's so different that
Yeah.
if I don't walk in and give myself what we call a locational,
Yeah.
and if anybody's interested, you can message me, and I'll give you more date information on that. I have to look around the environment. I got to make sure that I know where I am, where everything is. Just put myself in this place. Like, I am now in present time. It is now Thursday night. It's 8 o'clock. I'm surrounded by a lot of people. And I'm a short little guy that walks in, and people, and I got this thing going, and I already look like I don't belong there in like 99% of the places that I walk into. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, I literally do not look like I belong. But because of that, I look so unique that people think, oh, he's an interesting thing.
Yes.
And
Right.
that kind of gets me some. So I go in with the viewpoint of being like, okay, one, I know what I look like.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I know how to communicate fairly well. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think in terms of what am I bringing to the table that I can help this individual. I'm not
Right.
there for myself. I'm there to try to help, right? So I have that's number two. Number three is that every place that you go into is always going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Every single situation. So if I go to a venue and I go to the same venue the following week, I don't think that I'm going to the same venue. I think I'm going to a different night
Yes.
at that venue. It
Yeah.
is different. So I take everything like that completely different. Every situation, every conversation, every show that I do here, I think of it as it's a different thing. I'm not doing the same old, same old. I'm trying to think, how can I think differently,
Yeah.
in order to give something to the audience of value, right?
Right.
So that putting myself in those uncomfortable situations and being comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Like your show, that is my I wouldn't say specialty, but that is just what I do.
Yeah.
That is what I do. And being able to turn over whatever that is that I do to Brian, and he plugs things in, he books stuff and all that. That part of it to me is it provides a comfort that I can go out and I don't have to then think to myself, oh, am I going to be able to do that? You know,
Mm,
like, am I going
mm,
to be able to do this or that? Or that? I have somebody there. Same thing with the holistic approach, the
right.
wellness part that you provide.
Yep.
I don't have to worry. I could say, well, why don't I just make an appointment with you with our holistic professional that's on staff?
Exactly. Yep.
What? What? Yeah, I'll make an appointment for you. You know what I mean? And that gives me more confidence and it gives me more ammo. So when I'm in there, I can have conversations with people and feel like I'm providing something for them. You
Right.
know, and that to me is important. So
Absolutely.
just going back again, we're at the 30-minute mark, so I want to start talking about what's actually happening at JHS Talent. So I started this thing and I went out and I started just seeing a lot of talent. I started just going out and thinking in my naive state, thinking, oh, I can sign 100 artists, put them under us, and then just manage them. You know, where it was kind of like a stupid idea, because as I went out and I started meeting with a lot of different artists, I started realizing that there were not everything was there. And this is no, I mean, this is what it is. I'm speaking honestly here, whatever it is. Somebody could take it, if somebody watches this that I've had a conversation with, they can take it the way they want to take it, right?
Hmm.
But like for me, an artist, for us to be able to work with an artist, there's certain things that we need that need to be in place. There's certain things that just need to be in place. And we created these 4 phases, right? These 4 phases are put in place to give us a little bit of an idea of how we can better help this individual, this artist, right?
Right.
So the first phase is all about the individual. How is the individual? George would get the person at this phase one. I would talk to them about how do they operate? Are they getting enough sleep? Do they eat well? Are they tired? Can they perform? Do they have trouble creating?
Hmm.
All these things is part of a questionnaire that I have on phase one.
Yep.
And usually, almost all the time, they're blown away by phase one alone. Because phase one is like, um, nobody's ever asked them that.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Nobody has ever asked them, "Are you sleeping enough?" you know, it's like it's such a crazy thing to be asking. But for me, it's like a really important question for the person to
Right.
look at, for that individual to look at it and be like, I don't really sleep that much, and so I feel tired a lot of times. But I drink Red Bull, I drink a lot of coffee, and I try to get through it. So I make it go right.
Mm,
I'm like, well, you're not making it go right. You're just coping with a bad situation
that's right.
by adding chemicals to it, right? So these kinds of questions will bring out a lot. A lot will bring out in this, and that's when I usually bring in George. The second phase of this whole thing is where we talk about relationships, meaning either romantic relationships. So it can be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your spouse, your ex. Maybe you have an ex husband or an ex wife and you have children together. Do you have children? There's a whole dynamic there that can affect the artist, and we want to find out what that is, not because we want to be nosy, but because we want to help.
Yeah.
What is it, something that we can help with? Maybe it isn't. Maybe there's nothing we can do for this person. And this person, unfortunately, is in the position that they're in, and they want to handle it themselves, and they don't want us to get involved with them. And that's totally fine. We move on,
Right.
right? But we have to make note of this, because if this comes back in any way to affect the company or to affect that artist's art, then we have to look at it and we have to say, okay, this is why we ask these questions in the
Yeah.
beginning,
Hmm.
because we want to get ahead of that. We want to make sure that we're able to provide good value to this artist, right? So that's the second one, right? The third, also, by the way, the second one is not only romantics, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. It could be family.
Yep.
Let's say, well, my mom doesn't believe in me and she's always telling me that I need to stop doing this and start thinking, oh, there's a problem.
Yep.
That's a situation. We need to handle that situation, and we need to figure out, is this something that is going to fall on you while you're trying to create this art? Or is it something that you can kind of disconnect from enough that you can be creative and not have that affect your art, right? And so sometimes the artist, just knowing this, just having this data in their toolkit, knowing that, okay, somebody can suppress me to the point where I cannot do my art. And I may not know it because it may be my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my cousin, my godmother, my godfather. You know what I mean? It could be somebody that's close to you that could be suppressing you to the point where you cannot do your art. So if they see that and they have that tool, then they can't be the adverse effect of it. They can be on top of it because they know somebody's going to say something. You'll be like, yeah, well, I know, I got it. And they understand that. Then they can call me up and be like, I can't believe you said that, or I can't believe, whatever it is, we'll talk you through it. We'll help you with that. But there has to be a distance from the suppression, because suppression is like a cancer, right? And if somebody's being suppressed and they come with the cancer and then they come to us and then they bring us their baggage, their cancer. Now not only do we have the artist that we're trying to help, now we're trying to handle the cancer, and we're trying to handle whatever this line of stuff is being brought into our company, right?
Exactly.
So that's the second phase. So the second phase, if they survive the second phase, the third phase is a piece of cake, right? Because the third phase is, how does this individual work with a group? How does this individual work with a group? Do they have a full-time job? Okay. How do you like your job? How do you belong to any churches? How's your group dynamic with your church? How is your group dynamic with your local lodge? How's your group dynamic with whatever group that you belong to? A band is a group. A band is a group. So the third phase handles the groups that you are and how well you work with a group. Why? Because we're a group. So you're going to be working with us. We're a group. George is not me. Brian is not me. We're all three individuals, and we're going to have more people joining our group that are going to change the dynamics. We're going to bring in people. So can you work within that group? That's phase 3. Phase 4 is what I call the fun phase, because it's sort of like asking the artist, what do you want your legacy to be on this planet as a creative artist? Let's think big now. Let's think in future. Let's think in the massive state that you want your career to become. Let's think of that. That's the fourth phase. That's where we talk about the world. How is your art? And they love this question when I ask them, when I tell them about it, because I tell them, be as big as you want. Like, this is a place where you can be as big as you want, and you can say that you're going to be as big as you want to be. It does not, don't shy away from it, because, sometimes there are people that say, well, I don't want to tell anybody my plans because, they're always negative and stuff like that. This is not the place for that. Right. This is the place where you bring your big game and you say, well, I want to sell 1 million records, and I want to tour the world, and I want to help 1 million people feel better with my music. Good. Let's document that. Let's write that down, because now we have a target.
Right.
And let's write it down. I want you to write it in a nice big piece of paper and tape it to your refrigerator on what that goal is and how big you want that to be. And I want you to look at it every single day, and every day we move towards that. And that's the fourth one. So these phases are, plus the holistic approach, are what JHS Talent Management brings to the table. We're not just grabbing artists that can perform. You have to be good. You have to be good. Now, this is Nashville, so it's kind of hard to find someone that's not good. but you have to be good. You have to have good songs, and you have to have the right attitude. So the four phases will really pull a string on a lot of things on this individual, on this artist, that will give us an overall view of where this individual is in their life and what we can do to help them. Because we can't, not all artists, unfortunately, are going to get through the four phases and be able to keep pushing forward. Some of them are going to be held back, and you're going to spot. Personally, me, I do this.
Yeah.
So I've done this already at least 100 times with artists. So I pull the string, and I already know. Okay, and I tell them, I don't hold back. Okay, so that situation that you have with your mom, or that situation that you have with your boyfriend or whatever, or your girlfriend, that needs to kind of be resolved. Now, here's what I can do. Okay, and I tell the artist, I say, here's what I can do. I can have a conversation with you and them, so they can see where I'm coming from and
Mm.
what kind of help I'm going to give, right? And so they can have some kind of idea of an expectation, and they could be in the conversation,
Yeah.
you know. And I bring them into the conversation. Now it's never really, it's only gotten to that once where I spoke to someone and their mother, and I had a
Mm.
great conversation with them, and that's a possibility that could happen at some point, right? That hasn't occurred yet, but it's a very precise thing that's becoming more and more precise as I develop it and as I use it and as I notice that, oh, this is not right, or I should tweak this question because this question, I think, doesn't really give me the answers that I need. So as I'm tweaking the questions, there's about 20 questions for each phase. We never get through all the questions because the first 10 questions really pulls out enough that kind of answers all the other questions.
Right.
But I have them there just in case I want to jump around or something. 20 questions, 20 questions, 20 questions, 20 questions. So by the time these 80 questions are answered and I have enough information, now I could put together a program that this artist can actually operate off of, and they can get up in the morning and know where they are. This program gets, Brian is the one that runs it. He'll put that into play, and he'll be able to run this thing, right? So all these things put together make JHS Talent Management. So now going into what we currently have on, right? So we signed officially two artists. Now, like I said before, I've had probably 100 conversations with different artists, and a lot of them are still interested. They're not off. They're not gone. But again, the phases will kind of showcase,
Yeah.
almost what needs to be handled, and they see it for themselves. I mean, I'm dealing with smart artists here, talented, smart artists. So they see it. They know that they need to handle this situation, before anything. And so I have people right now that I'm always constantly talking to, and I'm always messaging, and they message me, and so I could find out where they are, right?
Mm.
So, but there are two artists that came in that had the right attitude, that were easy to talk to, that the questions were like piece of cake. I could feel that they were on they were great, So the first one that we signed was Robert D Allsup, who was an actor out of Nashville here, and he's I mean, you talk about a character actor. He's a big guy, and he plays a lot of you know, um, 18th century or 19th, early 19th, I guess, yeah, 1800s, 19th century, 1800s um, cowboys and rugged guys and stuff like that. And he's got all the outfits, and he's got a great face. He's good really, really good actor, and just a great attitude. And so he's actually going to be, we signed him. It was a couple of months ago that we brought him on board officially. Now we're actually announcing everybody, and he's going to be in my next film, which is called which is called Not Our Time, and that's him here with the big beard, the big white beard, and no hair. That's Robert, And the other gentleman there, his name is Jay, and we're also talking to Jay as well. We haven't worked out all the details with him, but he's also a really good actor as well. And so I cast these two guys in this film, and this film is going to be shooting soon in October. So I'm excited about having Robert. So welcome, Robert, to
Awesome.
our family. I'm very excited. And yeah, and last week, or maybe a little over a week now. No, it was last week. I think it was last. Was it last week? I don't remember. Days go in. I only know when Sunday is here because I have a show Sunday. So that kind of like gets me back into like where am I? But last week I met with our latest person, and so she's official now. She's part of JHS Talent Management. Her name is Isis Christopher, and Isis Christopher is an incredible singer. I mean, when I say she's an incredible singer, I don't mean that she can sing. I mean, she's an incredible singer. She also plays guitar extremely well. We're just so excited to have her on board. And this is just us together, so you know that she's real, that I really do know her. Just from what I picked up from the internet. So this is when it all happened. This is where it happened. We officially signed at a Starbucks. And I took pictures of us outside the Starbucks just to kind of
Cool.
put it there. But she is just so sweet. She's so smart. She's so talented. She plays guitar. She writes her own songs. She has an incredible voice. We met at they reached out to us, the museum, the Tennessee State Museum reached out to JHS Talent because they were looking for talent for a Black History Month event that they had. And so I called up a few friends because I didn't have anybody on roster yet, because we didn't have anybody on roster yet. This was like almost when we started. But I was like, well, I know I can get somebody, you know. So I called up some buddies of mine, and they suggested Isis Christopher, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I heard her stuff. I was blown away. I spoke to her on the phone, and we did a virtual call, and she was great, had great energy, and I just can sense very, very great. So I sent her to the Black History Month event, and I went to it, and she was phenomenal. I was so impressed with her that, you know, at the end of that show, I remember talking to her, and I said, look, I said, we just started an agency, you know, maybe like 4 months at that point, maybe 4 months ago or something. And I'd love to sit with you and talk to you about how we can help you, you know. And somebody like that, I would think she's got already like a bunch of people and all that. But she was on board, and she was like, I'd love that. Yeah, let's talk. So we talked again virtually. We met a couple of times, and, you know, we've just been going back and forth just with what we're working on. And then I finally wanted her to put some songs together, and she did. She put like, I think we got like 20 songs that she has. And so we went through that. We have 5 songs that we picked out of those. And then we finally just, you know, we finally signed the deal, and now we're working with Isis Christopher on this, and we're just really excited for her because she's just such a great talent. You know, she sang a song that, you know, there's certain songs that not anybody that people just can't really sing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you have to be a certain level of a talent to be able to sing certain songs, like the Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you're not gonna cover that with you know what I mean? You're just not gonna cover that. You have to bring the goods. So she covered the song at this event. She did. It's an old Sen song that you and I know, George. La 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 la. La, la, la,
Oh my God, what a
la,
song
la,
to
la,
sing.
la, 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 la. Do 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 do. Nailed
Oh
it
my
every single time. Every
Wow.
single time, nailed that note. And I remember when I first heard her singing that song, I was like, "Wait, she's singing this?" I was like, "How is she gonna?" I thought maybe she
Yeah.
might
The first
compensate
thing that goes to your brain is, okay, how's
the
she gonna
note.
hit that note? That note. Yeah.
First thing that went to my head is the note. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
how's she gonna hit that note? Is she gonna compensate and do something creative with it, which could also be cool, you know what I
Sure.
mean? And even if she does it in her head voice, that might be cool too, But no, she hit that upper range, and she just hit that all. I think it's like it was 3 times during the song that you hit that,
Oh,
and she nailed it every single time. Plus, she plays guitar.
oh,
She plays guitar
wow.
really well. Like jazzy chords and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
she's incredible. I love her. I love what she brings to the table. She's also very easy to talk to.
Right.
She's very sweet. I was suggesting things to her, and she's like, "Oh, that's a good idea." She had her computer out. She was taking on all these notes of what the program is and how we're gonna structure this and all that. So anyway, very excited to have her on board, and the future looks incredibly bright. I'm going to talk to her again about having her an appointment with you, George, just so you can kind of help with her on vocal,
Yep.
foods and
Mhm.
different things. You know what you're doing. So
Yep.
I'll set that up at some point soon and have you guys talk. I don't want to be on for that call because I don't know anything about that.
Right.
But you can give me the report later on and stuff like that, and she can tell me what you guys went over and stuff.
Mhm.
And so I'm very excited about that. So anyway, let's see. The JHS Legacy Blueprint. So this is also something that is very much part of what I'm doing at this point right now in my with JHS. This kind of came out of the artist blueprint that George and I had been doing, the show that we had been doing. And, I've been writing this for about 18 months on this thing. And while I was in Florida, I had an inspiration where I found an organization that I'm working with now to build a digital marketing company, which I did. And I've been doing really well in that financially and just educationally
Right.
wise. I'm learning so much stuff on this. So it's a great company, and so I just built out my own based out of that company. So it's JHS Legacy Blueprint, and on top of that, what I decided was like, there's so much talk about doing digital marketing and and it's really difficult for artists. More again, this is the artist, right? This is what inspires me, right? So it's very difficult for artists to say, okay, I'm going to do a digital marketing company to make money, or I'm going to sell, an online product, or I'm going to do multi-level marketing, or whatever it is that they decide to do. And one of the reasons is because an artist does not want to be taken out of their line.
Yeah.
They do not want to be off brand. So, like, if someone is a singer and suddenly they're selling cologne or they're selling lotions or something, unless they have been doing music and also having a passion for lotions and vitamins and supplements and whatever else they're unless that's already unless that's been incorporated into their journey, it's going to be a new thing, and it's going to
Right.
take and it's going to make them feel like they're doing something else, that they're not doing anything. So I that kind of always was always a thing for me. And I said, well, something has to be put together that can give the artist the ability to learn how to do digital marketing by utilizing their art,
Mm.
what it is that they already do.
Right.
So this way, when they're out there talking about, like I'm here talking about JHS Talent Management, well, I mean, I'm talking about JHS Legacy Blueprint, right? So when I'm talking about JHS Legacy Blueprint, what is it that I'm talking about? I'm talking about digital marketing for filmmaking, for music, for my JHS Talent Management, for my media tech company that I work for. This is all that I do all day long. So it is part of my brand. I'm a director, I'm a musician, I run this talent agency, and I have a digital marketing company, right? It all ties into everything.
Mhm.
So I thought, okay, so if I write a book specifically, originally I had been writing a book for artists, but then I said, okay, if I write this book specifically for filmmakers and musicians, filmmakers and musicians, right? Musicians
Mm.
meaning a full band or an individual artist. And filmmakers, I mean writers, directors, even an actor. An actor is a filmmaker,
Right.
you
Right.
know. And so if I write it for them, but I don't make it complicated, because again, when you're doing this, you don't have a lot of time to sit there and be like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to learn how to do this. But if I do it simple and I write a book, and the book is 130 pages long, but it is A to B. It is easy to read. It has all the data in it. It takes you. We'll talk about social media marketing. We're going to talk about SEO. We're going to talk about AI and the power of AI. We're going to talk about digital marketing as a whole, like as an actual business. In there's chapters on branding. There's a whole chapter on branding. So there's a lot of things in there that the artist could look at, and an actor, for instance, can say, well, you know what? I can build a digital marketing business. This one here, I can go to JHS Legacy Blueprint. I can get the free book. I can get the information that I'm going to get now from the blueprint, and I can get the program, and I can build a digital marketing company to teach people how to act, because I'm an actor. And
Right.
I can write a book on the beginning steps of acting. What do you need for now? You can write a 50-page book on everything that you know about how you got into acting. Let's say you're a singer. Okay, now you're going to do the same thing, but for a singer. Your digital marketing company is going to be about singing, and you're going to be able to not only are you going to be able to do the digital marketing and promote digital marketing to people, you're going to be able to promote your singing program through the digital marketing.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So it any art that you have. As a matter of fact, I always talk about the book by Russell Brunson called Expert Secrets,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Expert Secrets talks about taking that one thing that you're good at, and he's convinced that every single individual is good at something. It
Yes, I
could
agree.
be just making homemade pizza.
Yep.
And if people talk about your homemade pizza and they're like, oh, I can't wait because he makes the best homemade pizza. Well, you can turn that homemade pizza into a 20-page book that you can give, or you can sell, whatever you want to, whatever you choose to do with it, and plug it into your digital marketing company and promote that to other people that either want to make pizza, or maybe there are other types of cooks. They can take learn how to write a book on how to make pizza, or how to cook fried chicken, or how to make, whatever, lasagna or whatever, right? And that right there is empowering, because you're already doing something that you know how to do.
Yep.
So you're not going in and learning anything. Now, about the learning part, when you go to JHS Legacy Blueprint and you get your book and you start getting the emails on what the program is about, what the digital marketing program is, you're going to start seeing that this digital marketing program is so step by step. It literally is, you open a YouTube page here, you have the platform of the actual program that you purchase on one side. On the other side, you have yours. And you go the video, and the video will tell you, okay, step 1, copy this link and paste it into this browser. Now you go and you copy it into a browser on this side. Start the video again. Okay, now step 2, you're going to go visit this site and you're going to get a domain name. Whichever it could be GoDaddy, it can be any of those things. You go to the other page and you put in your and you go and you get your domain. Everything is 100% done for you on the screen. So all
Wow.
you're doing is following the steps by step, going back and forth. Not only that, but if you do get stuck for any reason, we have a community of 30,000 members that you can go onto our page, and you can Google. You can not Google. It has a search bar. You can type into the search bar, I'm having trouble with my domain, and all these things will come up on how to do it, on troubleshooting it. Not only that, there's a section where you can ask a question to everyone in the group. So on the top is labeled domain trouble, website trouble, this motivational, whatever. It's got all these links up here. So let's say you're having trouble, you're stuck somewhere on the website section. You click on the website section, and right there is an actual group, a live group. You just type in your question. Hey, I'm stuck in how I'm doing this thing. Can somebody help me out? I did it. I got stuck twice. And one time was embarrassing because it was right in front of my nose. It was right there under my nose. So that was embarrassing. But the other time, it was within seconds. Somebody was there. Oh, John, just look under there.
Wow.
It's right there. You blind bat. It's right under there. And everybody's tremendously supportive. That's another thing. They're very sweet. So when somebody gets a sale or when somebody does something well, they put it into there, and there's another section called wins. So if you have a win and you have a successful thing, you put it in there, and everyone gives you a thumbs up and congratulations, way to go. It's a huge community of people just wanting everyone to succeed. So you're not left. First of all, you have me as your first target, right? You can actually just ask. But if I'm not available, or if you just want to ask the community, I always suggest ask the community, because you're going to get way more better responses and faster probably than if you just go there and you just type in whatever it is. But because it's laid out so boom, boom, and you just follow the steps, it's in a sequence. I mean, they're modules. So you go to module 1, video 1, you do that step. You don't leave that video until that thing is done. And then at the bottom, it says complete, because you did the thing. Then when you complete all of them, when you complete everything and you want to test it, there's another like 4 videos that will help you test every single part of your website to make sure that it connects to where it's supposed to connect to. And that's also a very powerful tool as well, because there you already know. Now you know. I know everything here works. All I have to do now is tell people about it and promote my artistic thing with this digital marketing company, my filmmaking, my guitar playing, my singing, my cooking, whatever it is that I do that I'm passionate about. You can plug it right into the system, and you can actually get that right in front of people. Not only that, there is actually a whole section that shows you where to go to place free ads. There's about 200 websites that you can go to on where to place free ads. Not only that, there is written out, there's documentation on, not documentation, there's posts, fully hashtagged posts that you can copy and paste them into ads anywhere you want. There's also a whole section on doing faceless marketing. Faceless marketing is a huge, huge marketing. You'll see the videos right now with like just images passing through the screen and talking about a certain positive thing or whatever, selling a product, and there's nobody there representing it. It's a voice. With AI, you can do voice. You can do George and I know about Opus, that we use Opus for our show. You guys will all see this in an Opus format where you'll see my words down there, and everything will be split up, and we'll have hashtags and everything, all of that. So imagine having all those tools right at your fingertips. And you get the program, and it's all in there already. So you don't have to go anywhere else. You can literally just do everything right from there. Because I've done this before, so I have a little bit of experience and I know what I was looking at. It took me 5 days. It really took me 4 days, but it took me 5 days because I had to wait 1 day to get my website verified. And in 5 days, not only was I up and running, but I was up and running to make money. I was ready. I was connected, and a few days later I made money. So it was that fast and it's already, what I paid is already paid for. I'm already caught up on that. I'm already past that. You know what I mean? So this is the power of digital marketing. Now there's a lot of digital marketing companies out there. This is the only one. And I've been approached with a lot of different things. And George can tell you that throughout the years, there's a lot of people that we know that have come to us with products and with different programs and with different things. I've seen them all. I understand most of them. But again, what really got to me was that I could not get myself passionate about the product.
Right.
I like the money part of it, but I couldn't get passionate about the product. I tried, but I just couldn't get there. This is something where, no, you are already passionate about a thing. Digital marketing is going to be how you're going to get that thing of yours that you're already passionate about out into the masses. So you can actually generate an income from your house, from your phone. So you can travel. You can go to Florida for a month and sit by the pool and still work and answer emails and talk to people and do videos and do all the stuff. It's a wonderful, wonderful life. It's an incredible opportunity, and it's right down there. And that's, you get this book free as soon as you join the. It's free, so you just put your email out. It'll be sent to you. It's a digital. I want to get physical copies, which I'll probably do in 2025. In this book as well, the physical copy is going to have a section that George is writing, and it's going to have all this wellness information in it. So it's going to even be more value to a filmmaker or an artist, that they're going to also know why they get headaches at 5 o'clock every day, or why they can't sleep, or why they have trouble, getting going in the morning. All that stuff is going to be in there as well. And it'll be part of the digital copy as well. So if you get the digital copy now, when that copy comes out with all the updated and stuff, you're going to get that one as well. That will be sent out to the whole list of everyone that already has it. It's going to be updated. Hey, the new updated one is here. Here it is. And this world of technology is one that you have to constantly update. You have to, because it changes, right? I mean, the algorithms change in all the platforms, the way something gets done. I have books on my bookshelf. I have books right here next to me that I can't really use anymore. But at the time, they were incredibly valuable books. But unfortunately, I can't use these books anymore because they're antiquated with the science behind them, right? So you have to innovate. You have to continue to add new information as it comes through. It's the same thing with the health and fitness. George knows this for wellness. There's new things coming up all the time with wellness. There's stuff that people find out. This actually helps this helps that, this helps this. There's a whole bunch of things always coming out. So you have to stay ahead of the curve at all times. So that's what we're doing with the Legacy Blueprint. And I'm exhausted. I get excited and then I can't stop talking. But anyway, I am excited, and I'm glad we've gone over again as I usually do. But I appreciate everybody tuning in and listening in. I appreciate y'all. We have some great guests coming on. The last couple of weeks, I've actually interacted with some incredible people that we're going to have on the show. George and I are going to start doing interviews again. We have people that are just waiting, basically, to come on board and to do an interview. And all the stuff that we talk about here is going to be part of the conversation. We're going to get a different perspective because, having a guest on gives you a completely different perspective, especially if it's somebody like the people that we've had, like a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Academy Award winners, Tony winner, all the people that we've had on the show. The perspective is just so incredible and it's so different that we're going to have that as well. And we're going to bring that to the table. So we're looking forward to that. All right. George, thank you for listening to that.
It's all right. I've listened to you for 50 years, my friend.
Yeah. So true. So true. All right, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. We'll be back here next week. And if anybody has any questions or anything, you can always, obviously, you can call us. Well, not call us, because I always say call. You can email me at here, which is John at JHSTalentManagement.com.
Or you can call him on his rotary phone.
That's right. Call me on my rotary phone. It's in the kitchen. It's olive green, hanging on the wall. And if you're interested in finding out about George's amazing show that he has, you can go to georgebatista.com, and everything is on there, and you can learn a lot about wellness on there as well. So, all right, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We will see you all next week. Take care. God bless. And as always, peace.
Peace.